Hey guys, so I'm going to be showing you how I made the lasagna soup that I posted to TikTok. I didn't expect it to blow up like it did, but I'm so happy that you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to be showing you today how I made it, what I used, and all the measurements. This is my first time ever making a YouTube video and editing a YouTube video, so please just be patient with me. This is everything that I used. I used ground Italian sausage, 2 different types of shredded cheese, Italian style diced tomatoes, spaghetti sauce, heavy whipping cream, ricotta cheese, chicken broth, beef broth, and some lasagna noodles. So let's get started. So I started off just by browning 1 pound of ground Italian sausage. Please feel free to use whatever meat you would like. It does not have to have meat, it's just up to you. I got my Italian sausage from Aldi. It didn't have a lot of fat, so that was good. And I just seasoned this with some onion powder and garlic powder because I didn't use chopped up onions or minced garlic. Those definitely would be better. I just opted out. But I just browned that up, and it didn't have a lot of grease, but I just went ahead and drained it. I put the little strainer on top of a bowl, and I just got everything out. I usually pour it, but I was trying to make it look nice and pretty and show you guys what I was doing, so I just scooped everything out, and I wanted you guys to see that this meat didn't have a lot of grease. So this is definitely a one-pot meal, so I just took a paper towel and I just wiped up any excess grease. I poured the meat back in, and I had this on about medium high, and then I just added in 3 cups of my favorite spaghetti sauce. Please feel free to use whatever spaghetti sauce you like. I added in 3 cups because I wanted a stronger tomato sauce taste, but 2 cups will be just fine if you don't want it too strong. And then I just stirred all that together, and I started adding in the broth. So I decided to use a mixture of chicken broth and beef broth. Again, please use whatever you would like. A lot of people told me that they made this soup into a vegetarian soup and they just use vegetable broth. I used an entire 32-ounce carton of chicken broth, and then I used half of a carton of beef broth. And then I just set aside that beef broth towards the end and added in a little bit more because this soup will thicken up once it sits for a while. And then whenever I reheat it the next day, I just add a little bit more of the broth in, or you can add water, whatever you like. It just helps loosen it up because it does get thick after sitting for a while. So I mix everything together, and then I go in with 1 can of Italian style diced tomatoes. It does not have to be Italian style. It could be regular diced tomatoes. And if you are a fan of diced tomatoes, I would suggest adding in 2 cans because I'm sure that would be very delicious. So I just mix everything together, and then I start breaking up my lasagna noodles. When I first made this, I was so worried that the oven-ready lasagna pasta wouldn't work, but it turned out just fine. I've also had a lot of people comment and tell me that they used another kind of pasta. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's basically mini lasagna noodles. Just please be careful when you're breaking these up. Originally, I was popping them in half, and I sent some flying up into the air, almost took my eye out. So just make sure you're breaking them towards the water and not towards your face like I was. Just trust me on that. But once they're all broken up, you just want to mix that all together and make sure that they're all covered by the liquid. For the seasonings, I went in with about half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of each of them. Depending on how much spaghetti sauce you add into your soup, that'll kind of determine how much seasoning you need. Since I went in with 3 cups of spaghetti sauce, I didn't need as much seasonings, but I just kept tasting it along the way and making sure that it had enough flavor. I went in with about a teaspoon of garlic pepper. I did a couple shakes of oregano, and then I did half a teaspoon of basil leaves. That was my first time trying that in a recipe, and it does make a difference. And then I went in with a teaspoon of the tomato bouillon. Please be careful, that is not vegetarian. It has some chicken flavor in it. And then I went in with half a teaspoon of seasoned salt. I did add in a secret ingredient. If you know me, if you follow me on TikTok, you know what that secret ingredient was. So I just let this come up to a boil, and then once it was boiling, I covered it, turned it down, and let it simmer. I set a timer for 8 minutes and started working on the ricotta mixture. For the ricotta mixture, I just went in with a small tub of ricotta. I went in with a handful of Italian style shredded cheese, the Italian style blend, and then a handful of the mozzarella blend. I went ahead and measured what I thought a handful would be, so it was a third of a cup, so that when I did the recipe, I wouldn't just say a handful. That way I could get somewhat of a measurement for you guys when I type it out. And then I just went in with some seasoned salt and some garlic pepper. I mixed that all up, and I know it sounds crazy, but I smelt it to make sure it smelled seasoned. If y'all know me, y'all know I have to smell stuff to make sure it smells right. But if you're not sure what it should smell like, you just want to be able to see the seasonings in the mixture. This is me trying to show you that I could see the seasonings in there. Depending on what seasonings you use, you might not be able to see them, but just make sure it at least smells seasoned. I know that sounds crazy, but bear with me. So after your timer goes off for the 8 minutes, you just want to remove the lid, start stirring the soup up, make sure nothing is sticking to the bottom, and just make sure that your noodles are cooking. They should be almost done, but not mushy yet. And then you're going to go in with your dairy ingredients. Originally, I was not going to add heavy whipping cream, but I'm so glad that I did because it makes the soup so much better. It's not necessary if you don't want to add the heavy whipping cream, you do not have to. If you want to lighten it up, you definitely can do half and half, but I did go in with 1 cup of heavy whipping cream, and I felt like that just made it so much creamier and just taste so much better. I went in with 2 heaping tablespoons of the ricotta mixture. If you would like, you can add in the entire ricotta mixture amount that you made, but I personally just went in with 2 tablespoons because I like to save some to serve on top. And when I added that in, I kind of whisked it around to help melt it down. And then I turned this up, put my lid back on, and I just let that cook for about 2 to 5 more minutes. You just want to make sure that your pasta is cooked through. So just test it out. And if it's completely cooked, you are good to go and you are ready to serve. Just make sure you take it off the heat so that your noodles don't get mushy. Once your soup is done, you just want to taste it again and make sure that the seasonings are on point. The first time I made this, I did have to go in with a little bit more seasoning at the end. So just taste it, make sure it's good. If you want to loosen up the consistency, if it comes out thick, just add a little bit more broth or water, whatever you prefer. And then I will say, once you put this in the fridge, it is going to thicken up. So whenever I reheat it, I just pour a little bit of broth on top and it comes out just fine. I eat mine with some of the ricotta mixture on top. I'm sure some regular shredded cheese would taste just fine as well. But this recipe is so easy. It only takes about 30 minutes or so to make, and you could add or take away whatever you like. I just hope that you guys enjoy it. I got so many positive comments about this recipe. I will go ahead and type it up, link it down below for you guys. And please let me know if you like it, what you think. I'm still pretty new at this YouTube thing. I will work on it. I'm still learning, so just be patient. But thank you guys so much, and I will talk to you soon.